Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be smoking a Boston butt in my Masterbuilt gravity fed smoker. Load up the hopper here. I'm going to be using a mixture of hickory chunks and charcoal. Load up your hopper. Kingsford. And hickory and Kingsford. Alright, so the next step here is to go ahead and get this hopper going. I do have these Masterbuilt fire starters. I'm going to put a link on the description below if you're interested. But all you have to do here is go ahead and stick one of these babies in here. We're going to light it up. Open up the top. Open up the dampers. And let that baby percolate. Alright, the next thing you want to do whenever you're going to be doing a long smoke is you want to go ahead and introduce some type of moisture. What I did is I'm going to get this 2-quart cast iron skillet or pan, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to fill it up with apple cider vinegar, and then I'm going to put it in my smoker. So while my smoker is getting ready, let's go ahead and get this Boston butt prepared. First thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and get yourself a Boston butt from the store. I like the one that has a bone in it. Right here. The other one's boneless. It's a little bit more expensive, and kind of like having that in there because at the end you'll see how it comes out nice and smooth. So we're just going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to apply some mustard as a binder so it can trap your seasoning that you're going to be putting on. Nice little massage. Don't worry if you don't like the way mustard tastes. You will not taste this at all. And after it's cooked in, you will not taste this. This is just meant for a binding, a way to bind your dry rub to your Boston butt. Alright, now that you have this done, you want to get yourself your rub. You can buy rubs off the shelf, or I make my own rubs. I actually have a video on how I make these rubs, this Texas style rub. So if you're interested, check out my other videos. But this one, just be generous and start applying. Alright, so at this point it's good to go. If you have the time, I would leave this to simmer overnight, to marinate overnight in its own juices, cover it up, put it in the refrigerator. So it's been a couple of minutes. The little fire starter down here has already done its job. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and turn this on and close the doors so that we can start getting our smoker up to temp. For this smoke, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and I want to put this temperature. When you're doing a smoke of this type of meat, you want to keep it low and slow. So we can go ahead and click on the temperature. I'm going to go up to 230. So there is a little hack or a little trick that I found to the hopper. If you do own one of these gravity fed smokers, you're going to notice, or you're going to know, that down there is like a stopper for your charcoal or your chunks. But the grate down there, the holes are a little big. So what I did is I did a hack on this, or it's one of those ways to stop it. If you're interested in that, go ahead and check out my video about that. That will save you a lot of money in your charcoal. Alright, so now that my smoker is up to temp, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my Boston butt here. Let me open this up, show you what I got in here. I do have a brisket that I am doing. If you want to see what that's all about, go check out my channel. I have a video on that is going to be locked and loaded. But here's the Boston butt. I'm going to go ahead and put it fat side down because I don't know if you can see, but there's some flames coming in through there. I want to protect the meat as much as possible. So fat side down. I'm going to put it right there. All right, and the last thing I want to do here is I want to add a meat probe to check the temperature of the inside of my Boston butt. You want to try to hit 195 to about 198. That would be the perfect temperature to pull this out. I also have my internal temperature of my smoker to give me a range between 200 and 275, if you can see that right here. So if it ever falls under the 200, I know that there's something wrong. If it ever goes over the 275, I know there's something wrong. There's going to be a variant up and down because it's an electric smoker and it's using charcoal and chunks. So you have to give it a little bit of a window, but this is a real good way of keeping an eye on it without having to babysit it outside. For the first 4 hours, don't touch it. I mean, just make sure you have enough charcoal, you have enough chip chunks. Do not mess with the meat. Once it hits 140 and above, you can go ahead and start messing with the bark a little bit. So what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of apple cider vinegar into a spray bottle here, and then periodically throughout the remainder of the cook, after 4 hours and before you pull it out, you can go in there and you can spritz your the meat around, all around. And what this does is it's going to give it a little bite and a little bark to it. So if you're the type who likes a very not very, but a kind of like a crust to it, a little nice little bark to it, this is one way of achieving that extra little kick of that bark. Alright, so we're about 2.5 or 3 hours into the cook. I just wanted to give you a heads up or a checkpoint on how the Boston butt is going. There you go, it's pretty good, has a nice color coming to it, has a nice little smoky look to it. So let's go ahead and close this puppy up and continue to smoke it. So we're about 3 hours into the cook. I want to see how much charcoal / chunks have the smoker burned through at 225, 230 degrees. Careful when you open this up because sometimes you get flames coming up. Well, I couldn't see, I had to put my hand in there. So you're talking about, it took over maybe about a fourth in those 2 to 3 hours. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more. Okay, so we're about close to 10 hours into the cook, and my pulled pork has hit about 183. I just want to take a quick peek at it to see what it looks like. Oh, look at that! Look at that color. It looks good, doesn't it? Alright, remember, we can keep spraying this. If you want a tougher bark, we can continue spraying this, or we can just leave it as is. Alright, so our pulled pork has hit its mark. It's actually gone over to about a 200. So I'm going to pull this baby out because I don't want it to dry out. Let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, look at that. That color right there. Pull this baby out. Let me turn this off real quick. Alright, so the next thing here, you want to go ahead and let it sit for about 2 hours, let it rest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up and I'm going to put it in a cooler. Alright, so our pulled pork has been resting for about 2.5 hours. So now it's time to get this baby out. Now this pulled pork here, this Boston butt, it does have a bone in. It's a bone-in Boston butt. So one of the fastest and easiest ways to know if your Boston butt is good to go is by trying to pull out that bone just with your hand. So let's see how this baby looks after a couple of hours of resting. Alright, so good so far. Oh, look at the crust. Look at the juices down there. You can see them. Oh yeah. Alright, here's a bone I'm talking about. We should be able to pull it out just by pulling. Look, it's just coming apart. This is the bone-in Boston butt. Gotta leave that in there. Nice and clean. No effort whatsoever to pull that out. What you want to do with this here is you want to transfer it to a bowl, which I'm going to do. And we want to start to pull it apart. You're going to get some tongs, and you can be bringing the Boston butt a little at a time. Over. We're going to go ahead and just start pulling it apart. Depending on how fine or how coarse you want your pulled pork, you just keep on going. You just start pulling it apart. Gotta taste this. That's real good. I'm just gonna go throw the whole thing in there. Alright guys, this has been the Smoking Beard. Thank you for watching. I am gonna pull this this pork apart so we can go ahead and go to town on it. But please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do have other videos in my channel that you guys can go ahead and check out if you wish. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.